Polestar have given us something new and exciting. This is the Polestar 4, an SUV coupe that is all electric and could well be the electric car for you. But unlike most of my reviews here at Big Motoring World, rather than starting at the beginning, I actually want to start at the end. And by starting at the end, what I mean is starting at the back end of this Polestar 4. And the thing that has been keeping the internet chat rooms alive, the lack of a rear screen. There is no glass at the back, just bodywork with this slight indentation that has been put into the Polestar 4's rear end by design, not because of production needs. So it helps split the image of the car. So how do you see out of the back while you're driving? Well, at the back here you have a high-def camera that is plumbed into your rear view mirror in the cabin, and that is how you see what's going on behind you. Now, when you're parking or maneuvering, it's got 360 camera vision and bird's eye, so it does help you place the car when you're maneuvering, but overall, it's all about that high-def camera and lack of rear window. Now, this is an SUV coupe crossover type thing, which means it has to be practical. And yes, it is. So, automatic tailgate, which actually can be opened from inside via the nice infotainment, opens up to reveal a 532 litre capacity boot space. Want more? You get more, because it's got a 60-40 split for the back seats. When you pop them all down, you've got 1,500 litres worth of boot, which is plenty. Now, obviously, because it doesn't have any glass, yeah, I probably wouldn't put the dog in here. He's not going to like it very much, but there's room for the dog if you want to put the dog in here. Instead, you have the Polestar logo just in the rather nice felt feel at the back. But plenty of room, not much of a lip either, so if you're lifting stuff in, you're good to go. And there is a false floor, which opens up and gives you 30 more litres worth of space here, should you wish, and you can put charging cables or whatever in there as well. Overall, it's a lot of room, which is frankly pretty handy. Not all EVs are blessed with frunkage, but the Polestar 4 is. So when you combine the frunk with the boot, you get over 550 litres worth of space. And obviously with those back seats down, you get over 1,500. Now, it isn't the biggest thing in the world. It is 30 litres worth of space in there, which is just about big enough for my mid-shoot snack. Thank you very much. There you go. Fits perfectly. Now, what else do you get in here? Well, not a lot. You get the windscreen washer top-up nozzle hole thing, which is frankly a little bit over-engineered and feels a little bit plasticky, and everything else in here, frankly, is not for the likes of you and I. Right, now we've got that out of the way, we can move back to the front of the Polestar 4 and really start to get beneath the skin. Well, first of all, it does look very Polestar, while similarly moving away from that Polestar 2 design that we'd gotten quite used to. Now, I like both, but it's nice to see that the brand and the offerings are evolving. Now, Polestar logo at the front, I like the logo, but this is illuminated. Doesn't really make any difference to the aerodynamic efficiency of this all-electric SUV, but it's a nice little touch. Now, talking about aerodynamic efficiency, that really is the name of the game when it comes to all-electric cars, right? EVs need to be able to get as far a distance as possible between charging. And so a lot of this Polestar 4 is centered around how it guides the air around it. So quite a stubby, short, low center here as it heads up and throws the air up and over and around this rather large car. But not too much. In fact, it looks a little bit like a Ferrari to me at the front. And then the front end all the way down to the bumper, lots of room for the air to flow, even down to the camera at the front that helps with the 360. Thor's hammer running daytime lights, really glad to see that remaining in the Polestar lineup. I think it gives it something a little bit different, at least from a visual cues perspective. And then the adaptive LEDs are underneath here. These are the bits that are going to light your road up at night, and it does it very, very well. Back to aerodynamic efficiency, you've got these brake duct coolants here, Again, not just for cooling these big, gigantic brakes that are living under these uprated 20-inch alloys, but it helps tell the air where the car wants it to be, helping it slip and slide through the environment. Then as we head around to the side of the Polestar 4 is more of that Scandinavian design goodness and that aerodynamic efficiency. Nice flared wheel arches to fit those uprated alloy wheels into. A nice little nod there to Polestar's more racy heritage, which is nice. And then as you head around, you've got a nice little sticker, Polestar 4, and it tells you what battery it is running within. This is a rear-wheel drive single motor 100 kilowatt hour example of a Polestar 4. What does that mean in reality? Well, you're looking at about 380 miles worth of range, something we'll chat about in a little while. But you've got 3 cameras popped on either side, which helps with the 360 view, and I think frankly looks pretty good. Back to aerodynamic efficiency, you've got the door handles that pop in and out. They obviously pop in to reduce drag, which is nice. And then the frameless mirrored wing mirrors here. I think they look great, really nice little nod to design, but also drag reduction. More distance, less battery usage. That is what we want. Looking to buy your next car? At Big Motoring World, we have thousands, yes, thousands of cars across our forecourts because we're big on choice and we're big on what matters to you. Now, if you're looking to sell your car, we will give you a 7-day guaranteed valuation if you sell the car to bigwantsyourcar.com. This means when you send us a picture of your car, we don't chip you down on price like some others. And with no admin fees and instant bank transfers, you get the money straight away. Cha-ching! And did I mention that we also pick up your car free of charge? The heartbeat of the Polestar 4 is this landscape-orientated 15.5-ish inch infotainment system. It is nearly all touchscreen, bar a little rotary dial for volume and start and stop your music in the middle. And I personally am very happy to have a bit of an actual button situation going down. But the touchscreen itself is super, super responsive. It's been developed in conjunction with Android, so it's pretty much set up for Android Auto without any integration issues whatsoever. Don't worry if you are running an Apple device, obviously it will connect to Apple CarPlay as well, but the whole thing is really nicely done. So you've got shortcut features, you can pick your favorite elements of your car that you think you're going to need to use most often and have it constantly at the tip of your finger, but everything else you're going to have to dive a little bit deeper. So things like driving dynamics, that's all done through this system here, and yeah, drive function, so whether you want your steering wheel feel firm, your regen braking on, off, or just a little bit intrusive, your audio settings, your exterior safety settings, of which of course there are a plethora in here. Blind spot assist is all there, autonomous braking, it'll keep an eye on the road around you, lane assist, all that lovely stuff is here. And then you've got a little detector on your column here to see if you're falling asleep or not, which is quite nice. But everything near enough is done through this infotainment system. You do have your steering wheel button functionality, so if you want to skip track, put your cruise control on, which is adaptive, that is all done through here, and it works really well. It looks like it's going to be a touchscreen style situation, but it isn't. You actually press the buttons. Drive selector is on the right hand side, American style, so that's where you tell the car if you want to go forwards, backwards, or whether you're in park. The actual feel of the cabin is something that I do want to spend time on, however, because Polestar have made a bit of a reputation for being carbon neutral and good to the environment. So 85% of this Polestar 4 is either made from recycled material, is recyclable material, or is something that can be used again, which I think is fantastic. Polestar and Volvo are trying to make their cars completely carbon neutral, from the point of mining what you need for the batteries all the way through to when your time is done with the car, it can all be used again, either to make another car or something else. And I think, frankly, we need more of that thinking on the planet today. These seats absolutely beautifully comfortable. They are electric and fully adaptable, so no matter how you like to sit, there is a position for you, which I love. Everything is just super nice to the touch. So your little phone, for example, is cocooned nicely in the wireless charging bay. Your cup holders are all cocooned nicely as well. And then your central console here, where you've got a nice deep well to hide things, that is all just beautifully appointed. Frankly, the whole thing is really, really nice. Obviously the steering wheel both feels and looks sporty. And then as you go up, well, obviously this doesn't have a back window. You can't see out the back no matter what you want to do. So this is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but the camera on the back means that actually what you want to do is angle this so that it would normally look out of a back windscreen, but you don't do that. So you might as well just put it wherever you want. And then you've got a little button at the bottom to turn it back into a mirror. Don't know why you'd need to do that. And then a couple of buttons here just to adjust the height of the camera out the back as well, which is actually pretty useful, to be fair. Now, you'll notice that despite the lack of a rear window, there is a lot of light coming into the cabin, and that is because there is a gigantic panoramic roof across the entire inside of the cabin. Now, if you're worried about getting sunburned, don't, because it is fully UV protected. So even though it lets light in, it doesn't let in the horrible light that is going to do damage to your skin. So good news, good thinking from Polestar. And because it's an EV, it's nice and silent, which means you can enjoy your tunes through the infotainment system. This particular Polestar 4 comes with a Harman Kardon sound system. And if you do want to know more about sound systems within the world of cars, then simply click on the pop-out banner or in the link below, where we explore all sorts of different sound solutions for your audio pleasure. In front of you, you have a heads-up display which shows you the speed limit around you and how fast you are going, so it means you don't need to take your eyes off the road. There is a small digital dashboard in front of you, and that will show you quite a few interesting things actually. So it has a graphic of the Polestar 4 showing the traffic that is around you, just in case you're not using the windows. Fair enough, pretty Tesla-ish, but you get to see that in more and more cars nowadays, and it's very, very good. And then of course you have your battery percentage remaining, your range remaining, and then of course your speedo as well on the left-hand side. Overall, it is enough information that you can make a sensible driving decision without kind of overloading you with information. Ambient lighting. We know we love a bit of ambient lighting at Big Motoring World, but instead of just picking the color as a result of what you fancy, yellow, red, whatever, the Polestar 4 has got it split into the different planets in the solar system. So if you like a bluey, then it's Uranus, or should I say Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, well, you know the planets of the solar system. Pluto, interestingly, obviously not included, because Pluto isn't a planet. Nicely, if you stare at this long enough, a little Polestar in space will fly through as part of the graphics, which I quite like. Another thing that I quite like that the Polestar has got is an animal setting. You can select through mode whether your animal is in the car or not. So animal mode, basically it keeps the climate control running until the battery gets down to 20%. So you could leave a dog or a cat in here should you wish, and it shows a display on the central console telling people outside not to worry. Jesus Christ, it's a bee! Anyway, as I was saying before I was attacked by Mother Nature, you don't feel claustrophobic in here, even though you don't have a back window. And I'm going to try my best not to carry on banging on about it, but it is weird, Polestar. So plenty of room, and everything is nice to the touch. In terms of that limousine feel, well, actually, as a back passenger, you get an awful lot of control. So first of all, you've got buttons on the side here, which allow you to put your seat back, up and down. Nice touch. It's mild amounts of adjustment, but adjustment nonetheless. Then you've got a touchscreen panel here for, you can turn the music on and off, skip track from here. Heated seats in the back here, you can control that from here as well. Your lights reading lights, you control that from there as well, and obviously your aircon. Then underneath there, you've got 2 USB-C charging ports to charge your devices on the move, which is pretty good stuff. You can also, incidentally, turn your reading light on and off at the slight touch of your finger, should you wish. Now, obviously, at Big Motoring World, the cars that we sell here are used. Nothing wrong with that, clearly. However, what you get if you buy this very Polestar 4, if it's still available while you're watching this, whoever had it before has left the little plastic covering on here, which means you can have the pleasure of pulling the protective plastics off for the very first time. This car's done 2,200 miles only, and it is pristine. So that is a lovely little bonus for whoever ends up with this. But overall, lovely, lovely in the back. But really, it's about driving dynamics as well in this. So let's see what it's like to drive. Polestar, well, they're sporty. They come from a pedigree of racing. And so as we hit the road, take on the tarmac in this 4, I'm expecting a number of things. I'm expecting a lovely amount of feedback from the steering, which is currently in its firmest setting. The one pedal drive is off, so it should mean that it will coast a little bit, which is what we want. It's in sport mode. No, it's not. It's now in sport mode, which means the ESC is off. Now, this is the single motor rear wheel drive, as I mentioned, which means it could, in theory, be capable of doing silly things, but really with a rear wheel drive anything, EV or internal combustion engine car, you really want that feeling of being propelled along, pushed along by the power from the rear, and then a really direct, safe feeling steering input. So because the wheels at the front aren't doing any of the actual traction, they can just concentrate on keeping the car in the direction that you want. The elephant in the room, or the moose in the cabin, is the lack of glass at your rear. Now, I don't know that many people who, as you're driving forward, would turn around and look out the rear. The more prevalent thing is obviously this rear view mirror is now shooting HD imagery at me. So the first thing to do is understand that actually you don't need this angled how you normally would do to reflect what's behind you, because it's just a camera. So really, you have to change your mindset with that, first of all. Second of all, it is crystal clear. I'm looking at it now, and it really is very good. And I suppose there's an element of disengaging your brain. Don't overthink the fact that this is not actually just showing a reflection of what's out the back. It's literally just showing it to you via HD imagery. Once you get your head around that, it's actually not too bad. 100 kilowatt hour battery, 94 kilowatts of which underneath my feet is usable. That's plenty. 380 odd miles worth of range is what Polestar tell you that you will get. I think in the real world, you're going to get nearer, probably on a warm day like today, 320, I would imagine. At the moment, there's got 74% worth of charge in the battery, and it's telling me I've got 214 miles worth of range, which is plenty. And let's be honest, you're going to need a wee after about 200 miles anyway, so I don't really see the real world issue with that. The high-speed charging, so you've got AC/DC charging, which is available on this, up to 200 kilowatt hour charging. Those types of chargers aren't massively prevalent around the UK at the moment, but you'll easily find one that does 100 or 150. And when you find one of those, it'll take about half an hour-ish to get from 10% charge up to 80% charge, which is pretty good. That's enough time on a slightly longer journey to pull into a services, have a wee, have a coffee, and then by the time you get back to your car, you'll find that it's actually gotten slightly more charged up than you'd expect, which is a pleasant surprise. It will charge up to 20 2 kilowatt hour on an AC charger. What does that mean in the real world? Well, those are the types of chargers that you basically get at home. And so those 22 kilowatt hour ones will charge your car in around about 9 to 10 hours, but you'd stick it on overnight and you'd go from there. So all in all, again, a really good offering from Polestar. Now this rear wheel drive only Polestar 4 has 268 brake horsepower, which means with everything off and full power, you're looking at around about 7 seconds, maybe 6.5 to 62 miles an hour. Of course, because this has got Android built in, it can do very good stuff for you. For example, okay Google, set the temperature inside the car to 22 degrees.
Sure, changing the temperature to 22 degrees.
Pretty good. Okay Google, take me to Chatham from where I am now.
Yep. Head north on A229.
Okay Google, stop my maps.
Stopping navigation.
I mean, it's everything you could possibly need. You don't really need your interface because Google will do it for you, and that is a plus. Overall, dynamically, it's a good place to be. The seats are very, very comfortable. The throttle is very responsive. I like the steering wheel. It feels, dare I say it, race car-esque, which is pretty good. And overall, I think it does live up to the slightly more sporty moniker that Polestar have. Yeah, sure, the rear windscreen thing's a bit weird, and obviously it's not a full SUV, so it's maybe not as user-friendly as, say, the Polestar 3, which is like a full SUV version of this motor. The 4 does, however, dynamically do a good job. Everything's nicely set out. It's super plush and super comfortable in here. Everything works, and I think you could do a lot of miles in this, but when you hit a winding B road potentially, I think actually you could have a little bit more fun than you might realise. The Polestar 4, a very capable all-electric SUV coupe, and what it lacks in rear windscreen, it more than makes up for in fun, practicality, capability, and overall driving dynamics. Oh look, there's 4 things for the Polestar 4. Now, if you want to know more about owning an EV or just what all the EVs here at Big Motoring World can offer you, head over to our website where we have a boatload of information on the all-electric vehicle market, because we're big on choice and we're big on what matters to you.